Hi everybody, it's Stephanie Mo Davis. I'm back with another video. Today's video I feel is important. I feel like this is an urgent message that I've been trying to somewhat share with our community for quite a number of years, but I think that it's important and essential that I release this information again so we can start to be proactive and take different precautionary measures for our well-being as CKD patients, either just diagnosed, on dialysis, home or hemo or PD, or a transplant patient, or like me, a multiple transplant patient. So if you don't know me, my name is Stephanie Mo Davis. I live very close to New York City. I've had an exceptionally interesting, challenging several years moving all around until I found this home base here. And I'm also a two-time kidney transplant recipient. I started my journey at age 20. I'm now double that plus, and I've done really well on my journey because of what I believe is this addressing and this factor that's so important to me, which is my emotional, my mental, and my spiritual well-being, along with the aspects of taking care of my physical. This is something that's not addressed in the hospitals. This is something that may be addressed personally and individually depending on the faith that you are bound to. But what I'm going to bring to you is some different information that I feel is really important, and it's what helped me greatly. So let's get to it. The element of fear, okay, the energy of fear and how this so directly impacts our kidneys and the health of our kidneys. I want to give you a tiny bit of background. 5 years ago, I was offered an exceptional opportunity to work with a woman whom was transplanted. She was 1 year post, approximately, who had subsequently been diagnosed with cancer. She came for treatment here locally, and she was getting treatment for cancer, but also they were watching her very closely because of her transplanted kidney. I was working with her, doing gentle yoga, spiritual practices, emotional intelligence sessions, really helping her to navigate and work through her emotions and her spiritual well-being while she was facing the very difficult times that she was facing then. All right? So, what I want to tell you and what this beautiful woman shared with me, who was from China. She was from another country, and she was wise and bright and just such an etheric woman full of wisdom. She ended up teaching me so much. It was such a profound relationship and time in my life where we both learned deeply from each other. She would teach me Chinese medicine, okay? So, and she asked me then, she said, Stephanie, I need you to take this information and write a book. I need you to do this. And it's something that's been in my mind for a very long time. I haven't written a book as of yet. I don't know that that's really an interest of mine right now, because I like sharing other ways, but there was an essential element of this puzzle that I need to share with you all. Fear and kidneys are directly related in the traditional Chinese medicine model, or TCM, as some of you guys may know it. You can look this up, it's all over the place. There is some sort of effect that one has on the other, or vice versa. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. We don't really know necessarily maybe which one comes first, but we do know that there is a high correspondential nature between fear and the kidneys. Now, what I will say is this. I am not a doctor. The information I'm about to share with you has been profoundly beneficial for me on my journey, but this is something to just understand and take it in how you would like to receive it and process it on your own. This is not something that's going to cure you if you've been diagnosed with kidney failure or low functioning kidney. This is not something that's going to automatically make you better, but it is something that along my journey has been just very, very beneficial in, I believe, my overall health and wellness and how I experience my own success post 2 transplants, okay? So what I'm going to do for you right now is I'm actually going to read off my phone I picked a really nice article. There's many under the Chinese medicine model that talks about the correlation between fear and kidneys. All right. So I just want to read this to you. Again, take it in, listen. I'm not saying this is going to change your life. I'm not saying you can go to this to become healed like this, but I do think it's absolutely worthwhile to educate yourself on, especially because of the time and the nature of reality that we sit in now, where there is an elevated amount of stress amongst society as a whole. But for kidney transplant patients like myself, or CKD patients or dialysis patients, we all know that we don't have any room for extra and added stress here now. All right? We know that we're at a vulnerable place. Our bodies are vulnerable. So are our minds and our spirits and our emotions. So we must do all that we can on all aspects of ourselves to ensure, hopefully, an aspect of health and wellness. So this does not mean just physically washing your hands, taking precautionary measures, social distancing, mask wearing, hand washing. I said that, more hand washing. I'm talking about addressing your whole self, addressing every aspect of you, your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions, because all of those factors need to be addressed when it comes to altering or really succeeding with something that we face. Okay, so listen up. In Chinese medicine, as I said, fear and kidneys are directly coalesced. What it says is when there's an out of balance energy in the kidney region, this relates directly to the water element. And if you know anything about energy or energy medicine or the energy mapping or how energy works and flows within your body, the water element is also related to the second chakra in the chakra system, if you're familiar with that. We're not going to talk about that. But the water element has to do with all of the fluid systems in your body, okay, which definitely includes your urinary system, your circulatory system, tears, anything fluid in your body has to do with the water element. It also has to do with your urinary system and your kidneys and the balance of chemical compounds that go on within those systems. But metaphysically, the water element has to do with how well you can flow, how well you can go with the flow. When there are immense changes, when there are disruptions in your system, physically, mentally, societally, can you go with the flow? Or do you get scared? Do you hang on to a belief system and you don't feel safe, you feel out of control, you're worried, you're scared to die, you don't know if you're going to be taken care of? All of these aspects have to do with the water element, okay, which have to do with the kidneys in Chinese medicine. So, out of balance. If the water element is out of balance or is blocked from fully expressing itself, you may lack the qualities above, which I didn't mention yet, or have lost them as time goes on, and the imbalance can grow more severe. Cleverness turns to absent-mindedness. Evasiveness turns to isolation. Introspection turns to phobic fears. Calmness turns to detachment. Lucidity turns to catatonic despondency. Resilience to exhaustion. Integrity turns to rigid belief patterns. So really seeing the absence of flowing, okay? So water element is all about collective intelligence and DNA. Water is of the winter. When we pull back to our hibernation dens and rest and renew our reserves, in your life, the power of water element represents birth and death and allows us to leave our unique mark on humanity. In Chinese medicine, as in reality, there is no way to separate the mind and the body. Can I get an amen? By treating the kidney energy, you correct emotional imbalances associated with the water element by addressing emotional issues that are directly tied to the water element. You enhance your kidney qi, or the energy, once these are addressed. The most pronounced emotion relating to kidney deficiency is fear. This type of imbalance would be marked by the unfounded fear and anxiety during everyday life rather than fear relating to true danger, right? So the fight or flight, fight or freeze mechanism of the body, the parasympathetic nervous system can be running all the time on low or high levels rather than it just being activated in times of actual danger, right? And this creates and wreaks havoc on the physical body, the nervous system, and therefore the immune system. I've talked about this before. The water element includes the kidneys and the bladder, but the energetic organ system, which is recognized in Chinese medicine, is much more complex than just the tissues of these organs. In Chinese medicine, as in reality, there is no way to separate all of this. All right, so basically, let's go on here. Does it say anything else I want to read? Yeah, so basically it's saying that that it governs our lives from birth to death and is specifically related to our ability to procreate, whether it be physically or manifest our destiny in this lifetime. Creation doesn't just mean physical creation, it can mean the creation of why you're here, the reason that you're here to help society, what God needs you to be here for. This can get blocked if we're obviously caught in fear. We lose the vision to create. We forget what we need to do because we're consumed with fear. And the goal when addressing the water element and the emotions, which I'm going to do in another video, this is going to be probably one of 3 because I don't want to make these too long. My videos can be, need some time to think. What I want to say is, as kidney patients, we need to understand that it has been observed, noticed, and historically found fact that kidneys and fear, the emotion of fear, are highly related. Right now, as we face this pandemic of coronavirus, we all know that everybody's in a state of higher fear. Not all the time. There's a lot of positivity coming forth. There's a lot of people who are deciding to kind of take the high road, so to speak, and see the love and see the light rather than focusing on the media and everything that could potentially go wrong. But what I will say is, as a transplant recipient myself, I understand that these are pressing times. We live with something that cannot just be ignored. We live with something that requires our diligence and the remembrance that we need to care for ourselves very specifically day in and day out. So it's hard to escape the fear. It's hard. We may have moments, but what I want to do is help you guys very specifically to address certain fears that you may have, because turning fear into faith is really our best option, not just as transplant patients and CKD patients, but as a whole in society, is to how do we transmute this fear into faith. And I will say that I'm one of the vulnerable, as most of you watching this channel are, but I don't need to talk about it or really tell everybody how vulnerable I am. People know that I've had a transplant. They understand that I'm vulnerable. I don't want to be the victim of my vulnerability. I'm going to do everything that I can. I'm going to be cautious and focus for me on what I believe God has me here to do, okay? Which is to share with you the knowledge and wisdom that I've gained over 20 years working in this field of helping you to transmute your fears into faith. And to leave you today, we're going to start with very simply one conscious breath, okay? If you don't know how to breathe, if you have never practiced any sort of, breathing techniques or pranayama it's called, I'm going to teach you something so exceptionally simple. And we don't have time always to rely on external means to help us reduce our stress. But what we all do have time for is one conscious breath, okay? It can help you reconnect, okay? So what I'd like you to do now is just very simply close your eyes. And I'd like you just to take a moment to feel comfortable. You want to relax and soften the muscles in and around your face, including your eyelids, around your jawline, your teeth, your tongue, your lips, the brow line. Just try to feel relaxed. relaxed for a moment. Good. And then from the pit of your belly, I'd like you to start by just taking a very slow inhale through your nose. And then a big exhale out of your nose. One conscious breath, one mindful breath. It has to start somewhere, okay? I'm going to be making more videos about this topic. We need to discuss tools to transmute these emotions of fear into faith for us more than ever now, okay? And that's it for today. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.